let's get started with reading our story. So we'll continue where we stopped. So sounds like Mercy's grades have not been that good, and we'll see what that caused to happen to her. I think what mommy really means is that she's going to love it. Last year was tough on her. My highest grade was a C. As in, caramba, niña, what are you doing? You're shaming us. Well, it was frustrating for me too. To think, all my years of perfect attendance and neat penmanship did absolutely nothing to butter up my teachers at report card time. It's what we call a poor return on investment in the business world. Mommy finally said, hasta aquí, and called Papi to discuss my future. So I knew I was dead meat. I fought it as best I could, but they decided that I needed a more structured learning environment, aka Seward Pines. Why does it matter if I get an A in science or English? I cried to Mommy. I'm going to take over Papi's business anyway. She gaped at me like a fish out of water. Business? Is that what you're calling a dented van and a few guys who show up when they feel like it? A business? Mommy, she has no vision. No wonder she and Papi don't get along. Anyway, with Rolly's help, I managed to broker a deal. I agreed not to run away. I'd go to Seward Pines, but only if I could apprentice with Papi and get paid. So far, they're living up to the agreement. I'm 12, so for now, I mostly do the trim, and I'm not allowed to go on all the jobs on account of child labor laws and all that bull. I've been on 2 sites so far. Ramon's Auto Parts, not bad since it was air conditioned, and the marina, which left me smelling like bait for days. And that's the fish that you use to catch other fish. So I have a surprise today, Papi says. I study him. This could be bad. Among my parents' past surprises, we've decided we're getting divorced. Uh-oh. You're taking us to the science museum instead of a job site? Rolly says hopefully. I roll my eyes. What an attitude. When I'm in charge, he'll be the first one to go. No, but you're close. Papi sticks his arm out to make a turn signal and heads over the bridge toward Palm Beach. It's about the job. I sit up and look outside, realizing he hasn't told us where we're working today. Where's the site? I ask. The whole sky reflects in Papi's paint-speckled shades as he looks over and smiles. Yes. I look around for a clue. The Intracoastal twinkles beneath us as we cross the bridge into Palm Beach. The houses on this side of the canal are large, and they have bougainvillea vines trailing from their balconies. Royal plums line the streets at the end of the ocean. Papi makes one turn after another on the quiet side streets where fancy cars are parked in the driveways and nannies push strollers in the shade. Maybe we'll be painting one of the big mansions. I could run into one of the rich tycoons who live here and run a few business ideas past them. Rolly crowds into the front seat to look at where we are too. Where are we going? Move back, I say. He's breathing in my ear and he hasn't brushed his teeth. No guess yet? Papi asks. Then the stone archway of Seward Pines School appears up ahead. We drive past the perfectly manicured front lawn, startling a flock of ibises, I guess those are birds, as we go. A team of men in wide-brimmed hats is running weed whackers and mowers. What are we doing here? I ask. Papi maneuvers us around back to the service entrance near the fields and parks in a spot reserved for maintenance crews. When he shuts off the engine, the van shudders to silence. I did a trade for your tuition, he says, turning to us. We paint the gym and a few classrooms, and it won't cost me un centavo to have Mercy attend this semester. ¿Qué te parece? Your old man is always thinking. He taps his temple and grins. Rolly glances at me uneasily and then shrinks into his seat again. You should have told us, he mumbles. Something in his voice sounds tight, far away. But Papi doesn't hear him over the squeak of the van door. "Let's go, Team Suarez," he says. I hop out and start gathering the drop cloths and extenders from the back. I already know where the gym is. We came here for orientation night last spring. If I remember, the place is humongous. We could be here for days. Maybe I'll ask for a raise. "Are you going to help me or what?" I ask Rolly. "These paint cans are heavy, you know." He doesn't answer. Finally, Papi looks up. He stares at Rolly for a second before climbing in with me to help with the cans. Papi can carry several cans in each hand. He's the strongest dad I know. Wiping the sweat from his forehead, he points across the grass. "Follow those signs to the main office," he says. "Tell them we're here." I start down the path, dodging the sprinklers and hopping over the bricks with people's names chiseled into them. "Vamos, Rolly," I hear Papi say. So, I'm wondering why Rolly is so nervous to come and paint the school where he goes to. What do you guys think? Why could he be nervous about that? Let's see what happens. Mrs. McDaniels, head secretary, wears high heels and clear nail polish. Everything on her desk is dangerously neat, so I can see she's the prickly type. She might even be an enforcer, so I'll have to keep my eye on her this year. Uniform length, the shine in your shoes, standard issue headbands, you name it, she'll regulate it. I can feel her eyes on my head, so I pull off my cap. No hats in school, according to the sign. Naturally, my thick hair goes boing. And you guys have never lived somewhere with humidity, but when it's humid, man, your hair is like, whoa. "Sol painting at your service," I say, sticking out my hand. "I'm Mercy." I put one of Papi's business cards on the counter. She smiles cautiously and studies the card. "Aren't you a little young to be working?" "The rest of the crew is outside, ma'am." It pays to be professional, even with annoying customers. "We're ready to start on the gym." The phone rings. I glance around uncomfortably as she explains that the head of school is at a meeting. The leather furniture makes it feel like a doctor's office in here. There are oil pastel portraits behind acrylic cases and photographs of a group of students at the Great Wall of China. Wow, so we can see this is a pretty fancy school. Mrs. McDaniels hangs up and closes one of the enormous files sitting on her desk. I try to catch the name on the tab as she looks for the master keys, but it's too far away. My folder could be in this stack, but I don't say so. You never know what's in your permanent record. Height, 4'11", prone to daydreaming and lost assignments. She comes to the counter and looks down at me carefully. Finally, she slides a binder at me. "Sign in," she says. "The time is exactly 7:43. Rolly and Papi are waiting in the shade outside the gym when we arrive a few minutes later. The paint supplies are piled at their feet. "Good morning," Miss McDaniel says to Papi as she walks past him. Maybe she's not so observant after all. Rolly is standing right there. You'd think she'd say hello to one of their A students, but maybe she doesn't recognize him in overalls. So we can see that she has a little bit of prejudice here, that she's not really looking at the people who came to paint the school, and she doesn't even recognize that she knows one of them. She throws open the door for us and switches on the overhead lights. "Be sure to mark the work area. We don't want any of the students tripping on the drop cloth and having an accident." I can practically see the thought bubble over her head. Paperwork. She turns on her heels and clicks away up the path. "Who's here?" I ask after she's gone. It's not like Seward Pines has summer school. There's no such thing as failing here. Rolly told me you're just disappeared back to your home school. I picture kids vaporizing, leaving behind their red blazers in heaps. Rolly shifts his feet and points across the fields. Beefy football players are doing drills. Nearby, the girls' soccer team is practicing their passes. If you listen hard, you can hear the coach's whistles, the grunts as the teams knuckle down. I inch up the path a little bit. I love soccer, and I'm good. Papi taught me most of my moves. He plays on a Sunday football league at the park when his knees aren't bad. And thanks to the dads on the team, I know how to dribble and stall the ball on my ankles like a pro. Every once in a while, if they're short, they even let me play keeper. I'm almost never stuck on the sidelines blowing a stupid vuvuzela. Maybe we can sit in the shade and watch for a while to see if they're any good. All employees are entitled to breaks, aren't they? But when I turn to ask Rolly, he's gone. Get to work, Papi says. He's already inside, spreading the drop cloths. All right, so now it's your turn. Don't forget to use the stars to mark things that are similar between you and the character or things that are different between you and the character, and then write about it here in your notebook.